this is in relation to one specific theory video I found by Raider Etch. Etch connecting the characters within the digital circus to their base source material, I have no mouth and I must scream. And I have a couple issues with it because he seems to get a few specific details as a bit intertwined with each other. And I'll explain what that means in a bit, but ultimately it looks like he's trying to connect their behaviors more directly to their inspirations, I guess. Which ultimately doesn't work in every aspect of how it works, and I'll have to specify that with example 1. First on the examples he gives is Jax being connected to Ted, as they're both these insanely paranoid characters who hide their paranoia through a dickish persona. Which, maybe? But as a bit of a reminder, Ted was specifically connected to Anne. And Jax doesn't seem to have any specific recollection in matters within the circus itself, at least not to what we've heard. And he just seems to be having problems within it, which leads me to the first issue. I don't think Jax is connected to Ted within his role in the story. I think he's more being affected by his environment, and he's affected by his environment a lot more than how much he affects the environment he's in, you know? And it's I feel like he doesn't change anything within the circus, rather than the circus gives him problems and affects him. And count for number 2. Next is the connection that he tries to make with Kinger, saying that he is the German doctor guy made for experiments within the story. I forgot his name. I'm pretty sure you can't really blame me. His name is almost impossible to pronounce. But anyways, he's seen as an overall bitter character who's not very much there. Or creating what's essentially their own prison. Which, yes, I see the ties within that. I go watch my other digital circus theory video about how I think that Kinger and Ted are connected, which is actually the point I want to bring up here. And I actually think that Kinger is supposed to be Ted. They both worked on a specific prison, and they are captive kept captive within their own field. They created their captor, which is and also has partial connections to other characters within the original story. For example, I forgot what his name was, so I'm just going to call him Hannibal, because that's the most I can remember of his name. He lost his wife. Kinger also lost his wife. We can also connect him to again the original scientist that he claims that he is based on, because he's the oldest and not there entirely. But I would still fully say that Kinger definitely has a bit more of a role within this whole world. I feel like he has more of an impact on the story, since he seems to be excluded from anything in in episode 7, where he is forcefully excluded from most of the adventure. and it's also implied very heavily that he worked on the circus, which in episode 7 we might as well see that it was canon, because they say it directly. And the last part of his theory I honestly want to break down for myself makes a bit more sense. Among the separate rooms that we see, within the actual show, we only really see 4 rooms. And that's Kaufmo within the first one, Unpomni's within the second, Zubul in the fourth, and Jax's within the 7th episode. The rest of them we've only seen. And it's the rest that we've only seen through outer product merch, or haven't seen at all. We haven't really seen Gangel's room within the series, nor Ragatha's within the series. And we haven't seen Kinger's room at all. So it's still very much heavy connection to the original book, where each of the prisons that the 5 captives were in were supposed to be based on their original issues, based on their previous traumas, which makes a bit more sense. But the question here is, if that's the case, then how are each of these specific rooms connecting to each character? We saw Jax's room, which was more of a childlike room. And if we're looking towards several of their rooms, we'd have to still pay attention to what Jax's room looks like. It's a childlike room. He doesn't like being seen immaturely, to be seen with emotions. That's his own vulnerability. I think that he isn't, as this shows that he isn't really the Ted of this series, because if he were the Ted of this series, it'd be more connected to Kane, wouldn't it? And plus, we haven't seen Kinger's room. So if that's the case, maybe he has a bunch of features within his room that connect back to his original life programming the circus. And I'm not entirely sure where the last 2 episodes will bring us, but I feel like I have a good idea of what the characters are supposed to be heading towards. I believe that I know how the series is going to end. If you want to find out more about that, check out my digital circus theory video, where I discuss the possible finale through Kinger's connection to Ted, as well as check out any of my other videos if you're interested. Anyways, it's YouTube. You know what buttons to press. You already know everything. And you know what you need to do to support the channel. It's YouTube. I don't really gotta tell you these things. And in all honesty, I hope all of you are doing great out there. Hasta la vista. Peace.